Hello, 6th grade. How are you? Today we are going to be starting a new unit. This unit is Unit 3, which is called Ancient Egypt. All right. So it's good to have you here. Happy Thursday. Hopefully you're doing well. This unit is going to be dealing with quite a bit new vocabulary, a completely new grammar concept, and a whole new adventure. So we're going to start off by reading the paragraph that's on the top of the screen on page 34. So open up your Let's Talk books, your Super Minds books to page 34, and let's read that paragraph together. It says, Ancient Egypt. The civilization that we call Ancient Egypt started around 3150 BC and lasted for more than 3,000 years. It was very successful, and the Egyptians built some amazing buildings, like the pyramids and the Sphinx. The most famous pyramids are the ones in Giza, or just outside of Cairo. Every year, millions of tourists visit them. The rulers of ancient Egypt were the pharaohs. When they died, people buried them in pyramids. Let's review some of the vocabulary that's on page 34. Repeat the words after me. Pyramid, Sphinx, Pharaoh, chariot, slaves, rock, hieroglyphics, tomb, mummy. Now I'd like you to look at the pictures. Could you try to find the words? For example, number 5, I see those are people that are moving some rocks from one place to another. We would call them slaves. Slaves are people who were forced to do work against their will. What about number 3 and 4? What's that? Well, I see a man that's on top of what looks like a car that's being pulled by some horses. That man is called a pharaoh. He is on what we call a chariot. That used to be like the olden times, the olden days type of car, okay, before they used motors. This is a very different unit than Unit 2 because we won't be talking about motorized vehicles. We'll be talking about vehicles that were very popular in civilizations in the past. What about number 1 and 2? What are those structures? Well, if we look back in the paragraph, we know that that is a pyramid and the Sphinx. We'll learn more about those things a little bit later. What about numbers 7, 8, and 9? Well, we see on the wall there is some writing. Those are hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics are ancient writings from the ancient Egyptians. And 8 and 9 represent a tomb and a mummy, which were also found inside of the pyramids, way beneath the ground. What we're going to do right now is we're going to watch a video, and I'd like you to find the vocabulary words inside of that video that are also represented on this page, page 34. Okay, so every time you find the vocabulary word, just take note of it inside of the video. All right? Let's go ahead and watch that video.
As you can see in the images, today we're going to talk about pyramids, mummies and pharaohs. Today we're going to travel to ancient Egypt. Egypt is a country that still exists today, situated in northeastern Africa. But what we call ancient Egypt is a civilization that started more than 5,000 years ago and lasted for approximately 3,000 years. Its origins commences with Pharaoh Name, also known as a Scorpion King, who in 3200 BC funded this country at the Nile's bank. The River Nile is the largest river in Africa and was the most important existing thing for Egyptians since they depended on its water to survive. Their whole civilization and cities rose from the river's bank. The Nile was so important because Egypt is a country surrounded by desert, and the cultivations could only take place at its shores. But it wasn't only used for agriculture. The river was also used to fish and hunt. They also used it as a great road to transport goods or large stone blocks used for their constructions. All of this was why the Nile was considered to be a god.
Now you'll notice that in the video they use the word stones. Our vocabulary word is rocks, which is pretty similar. I wonder what other vocabulary words you've been listening to inside of the video. Keep taking note.
Actually, ancient Egyptians had hundreds of gods. Some had a human's body and an animal's head, like goddess Bastet, who had a lion's head, or god Anubis and his jackal head. But the most important of all was Ra, god of sun, who had a falcon's head. The pharaohs were ancient Egypt's kings.
All right, here you see some examples of some pharaohs. They are just stone blocks that were represented as kind of like art pieces or architecture in the ancient civilization of Egypt. Now, this is inside of the bottom of the pyramid. If you walk into the pyramid structure, you'll see these to the right and to the left. They're kind of like columns that you might see on a modern day building, right?
There were many pharaohs over 3,000 years, but the most famous one was Tutankhamun. Ancient Egyptians believed in life after death, and therefore they were buried with their belongings, furniture, vases, clothes, and even food. They believed that this way these things could be used in the next life.
This is actually a practice that we still do in our society. People bury things with their loved ones once they're deceased. Not necessarily food, but they do put treasures and other things inside of their burial. The box that they put it in. Okay, the way to show the respect, the just understanding that these people are important and these things were important to these people.
As pharaohs had the greatest power, they wanted to have the best tombs, and they got them. These tremendous pyramids were built for pharaohs' tombs. Inside them, there are many tunnels, chambers, and secrets.
This is a tomb. That's one of the vocabulary words. Tomb.
Passageways. When they died, pharaohs and some noblemen's bodies were mummified to preserve their bodies after death. These are the famous mummies. Mummies were placed in a sarcophagus, luxurious coffins that were covered in beautiful drawings and hieroglyphics.
There's that word, hieroglyphics. We also heard words like mummies and sarcophagus. A sarcophagus is basically like a coffin.
Hieroglyphics were the mysterious Egyptian writings. Their meaning was a mystery for thousands of years, but thanks to archaeologists, we can translate them and partly understand what they want to say. The truth is, everything in ancient Egypt's circle fascinates me. You already know that discovering the past makes us understand the present and improve the future. Goodbye, friends, and don't forget to subscribe.
Okay, so we're not going to subscribe to her channel, but you do see that that's a great way for us to understand a little bit more about this chapter, Ancient Egypt. If you want to learn more about this, just stay tuned over the next couple of weeks, and we'll continue talking about this topic, okay? That's all we're going to do for today inside of the book, but I do want to show you one more resource, which is also inside of your book, but it's the CD-ROM. You can actually download these practice vocabulary games, if you'd like, onto a computer, and you can play along with me, okay? What we're going to do is just go back to the unit from before, future transportation.
Future transportation.
And then we're going to go to a game called Aqua Quest.
Aqua Quest. Choose a word and complete the sentences.
So just like the woman said, we're going to choose a word and complete the sentences. This first sentence says, they'll blank the dinner tonight. To move this boat along the river, similar to the Nile River that we were just talking about, we have to find the correct word that goes with blank. They'll blank the dinner tonight.
They'll make the dinner tonight.
Let's weave around these whirlpools, sharks, and rocks. Let's see if we can do our next one. The next sentence says, I'm hungry. I blank eat. Well, I'm hungry. Let's try to find that. I need eat. No, I don't need to eat. Or I need to eat. I think need to is probably the most important one. If you're hungry, right?
I'm hungry.
And
I
let's look
need
at
to
that.
eat.
Let's look at that whirlwind. We blank pay. It's free. Well, if it's free, you don't need to pay, right? We blank pay. We blank pay. It's free. Let's see what our options are. We need to pay. It's free. We don't need to pay. It's free. We don't need. Oh, here we go. To pay. Okay.
We don't need to pay. It's free.
All right. Good. We are over 3 for 3-0. Her hands are dirty. She blanked to wash them before she eats. She doesn't need to wash them? No. She needs to wash them. She needs because she always goes with the third person
Her
singular
hands are
verb.
dirty. She needs to wash them before she eats.
That third person singular verb would end in an S in the present tense. Need would be like I need, first person, or third person, they need, but it's she, so she needs. Let's see, next question. She missed the train, so she blank arrive in time. Probably won't, right? She missed the train, so she blank arrive in time. If she missed it, she probably won't be there, so she will arrive in time doesn't make any sense. She was, that's past tense, so won't is the correct answer. All right,
She
yes.
missed the train, so she won't arrive in time.
In class, each student had a chance to play this if they really wanted to. They just needed to send their request. Let's do the next question. It says, don't worry, blank help you. Don't worry, we'll help you. I'll help you. I think it's going to have to be the future tense, right? So the ILL apostrophe in there is probably the best answer. I'll help you. All right. If we would have put
Don't worry. I'll help you.
if we would have put just will, it would have just said will help you. We wouldn't have known the pronouns. That wouldn't have made sense. We blank need to go to school on Saturdays. Well, Saturday is a day that we don't go to school. So it's probably a negative word that we're looking for. We blank need to go to school on Saturday. Well, here's my two negative words. We don't or we doesn't. We don't makes much more sense. All right.
We don't need to go to school on Saturdays.
Okay. There won't blank many people at the party. There won't. We're looking for a verb. We don't need a infinitive verb, so to is not going to be my answer. There won't be or there won't are many people. There won't be many people, right? We're talking about the fact that there is not a lot of people there.
There won't be many people at the party.
There won't are
Good
people doesn't make
job!
any sense.
You have unlocked a puzzle piece.
Oh boy. So we've unlocked one puzzle piece. I will let you play the rest of the games on this unit if you'd like to practice the vocabulary. This is going to help you a lot with the actual topic that we're working on right now in conversation. So I'm glad that you were here during class, and we will see you next week.